anyway. Hey, we're in LGD on blue, TT on red. A 0-5 for LGD. That's a no-brainer. They're going to ban out Udyr, even though they're blue side, so maybe looking towards something like the Kai'Sa or one of the 80 carries we talked about.
It surprises me because Xiaopeng has not been playing the Udyr. He's actually been picking into it a lot of the time, taking things like the Sejuani to go up against that one. And we've seen a lot of teams banning out pocket picks from Xiaopeng. Especially his Elise has been banned in so many games against him this split so far. Again, he's like a top 25 Korean challenger player right now, spamming a bunch of Elise, still playing his famed Rek'Sai. But we are going to get that tried and true trade we talked about a few weeks ago, the Renekton for the Kai'Sa. LGD wanting to keep Colt on something that is strong and comfortable.
We'll see if TT go for that stock and standard option. Actually, it's actually banned away. The Nars taken off the board, so for LGD feeling comfortable that, you know, will Chelizi play something like the GP? Let's be honest with his style, maybe not. And we'll see how this goes punished. As the Talia paired with it, this is a good partnership, Joe.
It really is, right? This is stock and standard, especially what you see over in the LEC. Anytime you see a Renekton, it feels like you see the Talia to go right alongside it with those dives. It's also nice because it matches the global pressure that Pantheon brings in the jungle as well. And now for LGD, it makes you wonder if they are going to go for the trade for Kai'Sa and just go with the Xayah pick, but instead, no. Chance bringing out the Rel right away. So both comps so far indexing into this all-in sort of style.
Yeah, and I will say that TT have a lot more of that stock global meta picks, but that Pantheon that ended in the jungle because we've got a Lilia picked up.
Yeah, and again, not quite sure where this one will end up. Of course, we have seen Pantheon in the support role mostly when it came to last year, but in solo queue, you can't even see Pantheon both in top and mid lane, so we're going to have a bit of a flex pick here for TT. It is going to make it much harder on LGD to draft, I think, especially in terms of what they want to pick in that mid lane position. And now for TT, I'm kind of surprised they're not just banning out more AD carries. You would think the first things that come to mind are things like the Xayah and Aphelios, though they don't go too well with the comp that LGD have put together because both of them want to play quite far back and abuse their range, and the rest of LGD's comp wants to go in. The only other things that come to mind, of course, are both the Jhin and Misfortune. Both of those are more about the strong laning phase, and maybe LGD are going to go the opposite of what I said. They don't want to sit back and scale and wait. They want to be the aggressors in this matchup.
All in, right? And what we've seen, you know, we saw yesterday, we saw the Kalista come through, so maybe that's an option if you really want to get the snowball going. And you have a lot of focus lanes here, though, for LGD. They're banning out supports to see what they can optimize in that bottom lane.
Yeah, and I also like the Samira ban coming out from TT because that was the first thing that jumped to my mind once we thought of, okay, hey, they also have this Rel locked in as well. And like we stated, those other 80 carries, not thematically fitting with their comp too well, but I still think pretty much any 80 carry can slot in just fine. And now for TT, again, with the fact that that Pantheon is a flex, I assume they're going to pick one of their soul laners because it probably is more, a lot better keeping your support option for later, despite the fact that they are already showing Rel. And we do see Chelizi just going with the Ornn, which, you know, up against the Renekton, right? You have options. You could build plated steel caps early. You can go for the Bramble Vest, and you will be 100% fine in that laning phase.
And you set yourself up to, you know, delay, add CC. You've got a lot of CC already, and that range can be kept as the Vayne gets picked up. Now, against Ornn, this has been a pretty standard option with the Kraken Slayer to enable.
Yeah, and we do see that, right? They're kind of mixing and matching. They're going to have these late game hyper carry and or hyper carries. If this Azir does come through, I actually really would like them to lock it in, and they do. But they are at least going to have a point of pressure to play through in the top side of the map. They have a double front line coming out in both the Renekton and Rel, and it's going to set up for both Uniboy and Kramer to be these big late game teamfight carries later on.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So expect topside early, and then we transition through. I'll tweak you more about the composition in a second. I just want to see what TT pull up as a potential support. We don't know where this Pantheon's going. 5 seconds to get locked in, so Pantheon in a solo lane is now confirmed. But looks like we're going to see mid-Pantheon Lyric with global pressure across the map.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see for the fact that I would assume he should struggle a little bit in this laning phase early. Pantheon, of course, it's a lot more of a kill lane, right? You're not necessarily playing for wave control. It's about finding those opportunities to all in to get that 1v1 kill. You can expect him to link up with Xiaopeng quite a bit. We do have mixed damage in the mid-jungle role. And like you said, it's about transferring that pressure to other parts of the map. And I would especially expect to see it in that bot lane, right? We have an Ornn in the top side. We have a Thresh coming out in the bottom half. But for me, TT's comp looks like it really needs to get rolling early on to where LGD have more options to play with like we talked about.
Yeah, those real big hyper carries, the Vayne, the Azir, what they do on max items is unprecedented in this game as well. The Kai'Sa or even the Ornn advantage might not make sense. So I like that you talk about getting the ball rolling, even though we see scaling elements filled out nicely with the Ornn, with the Kai'Sa. It just feels like, in comparison, the transition period is going to be really nice for LGD to work their way through the different stages of this game.
It is, and the thing is, I guess the only thing that they should be scared of is themselves, right? Because they still have that insurance policy for later, but we still want to see them being able to find some opportunities around this top half of the map. If they're not necessarily finding kills onto the Ornn, which they definitely could, especially pre-level 6, I want to see them helping transfer that Renekton pressure around the map. Maybe play with Fog of War, hover towards mid lane, put a lot of pressure onto Twila, and make sure that he can't just play very freely and aggressively and find ultimates kind of into that bottom side.
Bit of a daring draft. I mean, it feels like it's daring for both these teams, running Pantheon mid, setting Talia up to help Pantheon top. Rather, Renekton, excuse me. TT and LGD, two teams towards the bottom, but you should be caring about this because TT are on a bit of a win streak. LGD only 0-5. Remember that the cutoff for playoffs was like 8-9 wins, and the fact now that we get 10 playoff spots, it's a couple of series that make the difference in the long run in the LPL, and this could be one of them in hindsight. So TT and LGD now move on to the Rift, and what you can see is that Uniboy heading for that late game insurance you talked about with the lethal tempo picked up.
And yeah, just a much better rune, especially if you want to be able to clear waves, right? Because you can proc that attack speed and use that on the wave. Also just provide reliability later on in team fights. I don't think it gives you as much DPS as something like a Conqueror would, but it's still right up there with it. Better than things along the lines of the Arcane Comment. And another interesting thing we need to hit on is something we've seen before, is the jungle dynamic, to where though you think of both Lilia and Talia in the same ways, they both have very good clears. They're both AP junglers. They're very different. Talia much more lane focused compared to Lilia, who is much more about finding the advantage for herself and stealing away those jungle camps.
With how quickly she clears, going to try it now. LGD waiting in the brush though here. Lyric onto Xiaopeng, the flash immediately from Chance. He dismounts but doesn't find the knockup, and LGD health disadvantage. They flash onto Twila, get the Dark Harvest, they heal away. And LGD, that's a win. They reclaim their own jungle and force out 3 summoners from TT.
It is a 3 summoner for 3 summoner trade, though. We do see chance for both his, and even Colt actually now 4, having to use TP to get back to the top side. But they do keep Flora's jungle intact, and you at least will have windows to punish, and I would even say set behind TT's main duo, because now both Lilia and Pantheon don't have their flashes. Twila has to play a bit more reserved. It's going to be a lot harder to find that all in onto Uniboy that we were talking about.
I'm super interested in the clears. We see Chelizi just getting hit down. That's Conqueror enabled. Chelizi in dangerous territory. He'll get the grasp, pop the pot. But now those are gone, and Colt has asserted the level 2 in this lane.
It's going to be quite hard for Chelizi. We talked about it. This is a bit of a rough lane for Ornn until he gets those plated steel caps. And then it's a question of, does he want to opt more for playing for his team and getting to his mythic faster and going for that Balmy Cinder? Or if he is getting pressured enough by Colt, he can always just go for that Bramble Vest.
So I want to return to mid, though, just while we see standard things happening. Teeen and SAMD. Okay, Flay's gone, so we'll pause there. Uniboy is already shoving out the wave. The range advantage you mentioned in pick and ban. And now that the summoner's gone, I want to talk a little bit more about how Flora can adjust his pathing, maybe look less at top, and influence mid to abuse.
It's going to be quite hard because you don't have any way to lock down the Pantheon, right? You're going to need to be playing with Fog of War from Flora when the wave bounces back and trying to find the seismic shove onto Twila, but I don't think you actually need to do that at all. I would like to just see Uniboy keep doing what he's doing, just keep shoving this wave under turret, allow Flora the chance to invade the top side, which is what we set up before draft, right? And having Colt roam over with him, which is exactly what they're going to do. And TT are going to have no way to answer. Twila having to back off right now. He will have his TP up to join, but I really feel like his ability to find kills in action without his flash is severely limited.
I do feel like it's a 2-for-1 special we're kind of seeing as Colt's going to walk back in here. This is the trading you expect. Still gets stunned down after the Bellows Breath and trying to run as the flash is burnt. You send out the pillar, get the searing charge, spin to actually win. Seismic Shove dodged away from on top of his body. He'll die to first blood as Colt goes too far.
And that was really strange to see because you could tell they had an inkling that Xiaopeng was on top side because of how he cleared out his jungle starting from bot. They were waiting for him, and then Colt goes in for that trade onto Chelizi, but has to back off. But Flora was already pathing down towards his mid lane, to where I feel like Colt could have gone for that trade had Flora just pathed upwards. They wouldn't have been able to look for that all in. but a bit of a disconnect leading to Colt giving over that kill. And this also goes to what I talked about TT's win condition being, hey, we can just wait for the enemy team to make mistakes. That's how they beat E-Star.
That's mistake number one. Colt falls down. The Orn pushes out CS. Bit of experience denied to the Renekton, who's been playing up about half a bar in this lane. And Chelizi actually matching the CS partially. And that's always good to see if you're an Orn. You can fall behind, it doesn't matter. But when you match tempo with your laner, that's when you're the best Orn player in the league. Xiaopeng picked up first blood. Remember, he picked up boots, and Smite still won't go through. He's trying to challenge Flora in the river.
And with that, it is a bit unfortunate because I was just going to say how the only way I feel like TT can kind of relieve some pressure from Twila is moving Teeen over towards mid and just starting to shadow for his mid laner. We've seen that both SAMD and Teeen have had to push in this lane as expected, right? Kai'Sa having AoE abilities to clear the wave. Chance not having flash up as well, making it a bit riskier for them to play far forward. But with the vision control now asserted around mid lane for the side of LGD, it would be harder for Teeen to find those opportunities.
Let's also remember that Thresh into Rel is like Thresh into Leona in a sense. The crash down can be ignored, as that's a nice little interaction with a good hook. There's the flay back. Won't be able to dodge away. This is what I'm talking about with the ignite down the swell seed, the eep, and Xiaopeng picking up kill number 2. Nicely done as Teeen sets it all up.
Yeah, you like to see it. They were building up the big wave, setting up this play. Teeen goes in with the flay. Like you said, it does have those cool interactions. They even force summoners out from both LGD bot laners, both heal and ignite going down. And then a very easy lantern for Xiaopeng to follow in and pick up those kills. 2-0 and 0 on this Lilia.
We're being real cute at the start of this game, Lyric. Xiaopeng making that magic happen. 2-0 has the lost chapter already, and we'll watch again because that was right through the minion wave.
Yeah, really nice death sentence coming out from Teeen, then does go for the flay. Lantern already thrown down, and sure, SAMD does get condemned back, but very easy for him to just walk forward and keep layering down that damage on the Chance.
A great start for TT. They punish top lane, then rotate immediately to the bottom lane for Xiaopeng. And a 2-0 start now to hit towards Uniboy. He has the shifting sands to get out, so hoping for a bit much here, even with the Emperor's Divide. They have to be careful. Counterplay available for the Azir.
It's still nice though, right? Because if you look at the mid lane, it makes Uniboy back off, which gives Twila the ability to start shadowing and hovering around bot side, allowing Xiaopeng and Teeen to get this dragon. So that pressure gank in mid did all it was meant to do.
With a bit of breathing room for Twila, I like it. You also talked about Teeen moving up to mid and exerting some of his own force. So, Lyric, that's come partially true. The first dragon goes down. Xiaopeng continues to make this game his. With the 600 gold lead with the first objective, things looking real nice for TT. And that breathing room for Twila even means he gets to push out the wave. He now has 6, and he can start looking to leave this lane at an opportune moment.
That's the most important thing because he's not going to be able to get back into this 1v1 matchup anytime soon. Uniboy even having the cleanse right if Pantheon does land that stun. Uniboy just continuously able to build up this big wave. It feels like we're going to get to a point where Twila's going to have to play around one of Uniboy's resets and look to use that ultimate to once again influence the bot lane. We don't really expect to see too much top side though. I guess theoretically it could happen. If you do bring a 3-man squad, you'll even have a frontliner and Chelizi mixed damage in your mid and jungle. But for the side of TT, I feel like it's continuing to all in on your Kai'Sa hype train.
Get them further and further ahead. I can't see right now, but I'll mention that we do have a bit of a CS lead of almost 20 in the bottom lane. Now, granted, we were just talking about Uniboy having a lead through mid, but it's already been mentioned the interaction that'll happen here from Twila. The Starfall is almost available. I'm not sure if he used it to get to lane or if maybe that's just a white part in the ulti Lyric. Now, Xiaopeng starting up the Herald. Now, he has to be careful as well. Flora's still strong. It's still a Talia with a lost chapter as well.
We could see TT roam up their bot lane first, but it looks like LGD's bot lane potentially already backing off. They could just be taking Krugs, but if you look at the minimap, Teeen is already heading up here. So TT using their priorities very well. Chelizi has TP and is using it right away, but Xiaopeng actually just going to back off.
He is. Moving away, stops aggro, it's going to reset, but might have a second thought. The Scuttlecrab's going to give full vision as Twila and Teeen now on top of it. Herald will start, Chelizi there first, as you mentioned, has called the Forge Gods, so this is a good rotation, and TT going to get yet another objective while Kramer and Chance get breathing room in the bottom lane.
My guess is that TT backed off because they didn't know where Kramer and Chance were, right? We knew that they were doing Krugs, but TT squad didn't know that. They could have already been moving up. Once we do see Vayne and Rel show on bottom wave, SAMD and Teeen already started heading over. They feel fine to just go ahead and start this objective. And it's at least, for the side of LGD, going to give Kramer some gold and EXP back in this matchup, even being able to pick him a plate.
The turret gold means closer towards that endgame element we talked about. Flora even taking away the blue buff. The seismic shove a little bit far, but he has the burst damage before the patience wears down. A bit of a trade here for the jungle support duo up in this top lane as well. And, you know, I mentioned breathing room quite a lot. Chelizi gets the same, and Xiaopeng could be in position to try and first turret blood.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to me, though, that they would end up going for this swap, and they didn't even send Chelizi down any earlier because they were the ones that had a favorable matchup in bot lane. And sure, we saw Chelizi losing in the isolated 1v1, but what this trade just did was it gave Chelizi gold back into the matchup, but it also gave Kramer gold back into the game. And that doesn't really seem like a worthwhile trade for the side of TT.
When the Azir's already up, when Kramer's actually getting solo gold versus shared for 3 people. First turret blood will go down. That's a great cash injection, but again, we already mentioned Kramer denies some of the wave, 237 to SAMD. Kramer's going to pick that up off of 2 plates alone, so definitely feels like a very good trade for the solo AD carry. Lyric, I also want to mention that was the coolest picture-in-picture I've seen here in the LPL. I did not know we had that camera, but apparently we get that with, you know, turret for turrets, so I don't know. The simple things in life make me the happiest.
Really interesting how we haven't seen TT able to utilize Twila at all. He's just been stuck clearing waves under this turret. You would think they probably want to get him into a side lane as soon as possible and start off a 1-3-1 lane assignment to where you can have SAMD and Teeen safely go up against the Azir in the mid lane. And Twila should be able to survive, whether it's against Colt or LGD's bot lane, just picking up CS under turret.
He's always got the Gore Drinker, it seems like, as the first item for this Pantheon as well. Gives the survivability, acts as a bit of a front line. We've seen in the jungle quite a lot. Chelizi sticking around the bottom lane meanwhile, and I should just bring us back. The Gore Drinker here, Lyric, feels like when you're in the engage, it's going to be pretty strong. What do you think of the item choice? Is it what you expected? Do we have time to talk about it?
My guess is no. So let's just watch what Flora does.
He's still got the Iron Spike Whip. That's forward with the Dominus as well. Flashes from the seismic shove. Colt burned his own flash. Xiaopeng actually going to land with the Swell Seed. Is Sleep going to come through? Chilling Smite there. Here comes the Lilting Lullaby. Xiaopeng has the flash matches. Watch out. Eat again. Xiaopeng 3-0.
Really nice counter gank coming in from him, but TT aren't done. They're looking for a plan to Uniboy, but nice sidestep. And hey, they got that pick right in time for Dragon. Flora is down, and this should just be a free one for the side of TT.
Xiaopeng showing his more active jungler. Flora missing some of the engages, and Xiaopeng's always there to punish. Dragon number 2, as you already mentioned, and we'll get to see the Soul coming up. Soul for a team that's taking over the early game a little bit, and we already talked about the turret trades. Bottom didn't actually go down, so TT are a turret up. They're now 2 dragons up with a Cloud Soul on the way.
And I mean, Xiaopeng has been a player I've spoken high praise of for a long time. I thought he was extremely good last year when, you know, we saw that DMO were never able to find their footing. Oh, TP coming in from Twila.
Let's see if it makes any effect. Starfall is available, but just backs away, just in case. Okay.
We don't want just in case hysterics. We want blood.
Well, Twila doesn't have flash. I forgot. Kramer's going to back away. We do want blood. It's 3-0 at 13 minutes, and I'll say this is very calculated play when we call both these teams quite messy. A lot of mistakes. So far, we've only really seen mistakes out of LGD.
We've definitely seen, I'd say, mistakes from both sides, but TT have been a lot better at capitalizing. And again, it feels like this game, they've really just been taking advantage of the mistakes that LGD have made. They found that first gank onto Colt when Colt was looking to over-aggress. I think the bottom lane play was very good. You can just congratulate TT for that one. But then using that prio to start playing around Herald, it does feel like they've been taking things a bit slower than they might have needed to. But again, when you are playing against another team that's towards the bottom of the standings and isn't the cleanest in terms of play, I think taking it slow is the way to go. And it's also why I predicted a 3-game series. Let's be honest, they're going to be like 35-minute games as well. We're in for the long haul.
We are. We're buckled in, you know. We got no cameras. No one can see my vest, but this is my long series vest. I only wear this when I know it's going to be a 5-6 game day.
It was actually great that I remember I walk in from the convenience store. You're getting dressed. I'm like, hey, you know we can't use cameras, right? And he looks so disappointed. He's like, well, I already got the vest on. I'm not taking it off.
I forgot it. Now it's so hot. Oh, man. the t-shirt was nice, and, you know, I wish I always cast in t-shirt, but we have standards, ladies and gentlemen. We have standards for our beautiful audience who are going to be in the long haul with us, so expect to be comfortable, so I hope you have your casting vest on. We've had a bit of a lull, and this is a great time for me to kind of bring up before the next dragon, before the next herald, is, you know, the top lane was extended lyric. We do have a turret down for TT. Lane assignments have been a bit whack, and I want you to walk me through what the mid-game transition looks like and what TT's next kind of goal should be.
For TT, they're just going to keep recalling like we see now with Chelizi, and when objectives are on, they're just going to stack and send 4 to 5 members mid. It's not about playing through those side lane pressures. Ornn isn't really a champion who can safely push out that wave, in my opinion, and then start hovering over towards mid, because if he was able to do that, you could potentially just see him looking for a call of the Forge God onto the Azir. That's a very good way to try to blow a flash or blow his dash and start moving Pantheon down towards the bottom lane, but instead, I think we're just going to see an extended laning phase until that dragon comes up. Chelizi's going to push out the wave, and then we're just going to stack 5 men to contest mid wave, and then it's going to be about TT pulling that trigger to find that fight.
Because that in extended lane, SAMD and Teeen are so comfortable. They see Flora moving down. Lyric, if we're still going through SRING.
We don't know if the audience can hear us. Oh, we're back.
We're back. Oh my god. Hey, we're in the same house, folks, so if
one of us goes, we all go, baby.
Yeah. Chat, get ready. You're filling into cast. And so, we are back.
We are back. Hey, it's a fun day. It's a fun day, but you know, we do see now LGD being able to get some gold back on the map, but going to the point I was going to make before, I really would like to see TT change their lane assignment to keep what we talked about only a few minutes ago, right? Of keeping SAMD and Teeen in that mid lane, because Uniboy won't be able to freely hit turret against them. And especially now that bottom side turret's down, LGD don't have a way to reliably split push into inner turret up against Twila, so Twila should be safe as well. And now they aren't going to be giving over any structures, and it's just going to be waiting out that next Drake, which is coming in 20 seconds. And look, hysterics. Chelizi already walking down, already walking towards that mid lane. They're going to contest the wave.
You're so smart. You said stack, and I believed you, and my faith has not been misplaced. There's only 1 minion in the way, and the next wave coming in with 10 seconds on Dragon. The Herald player we've already talked about, right there in Xiaopeng's back pocket. Twila ready for the Starfall. He's been in the side lane, hitting his level 2 on the ulti. Actually has a bit of an EXP needed, as Uniboy is at 12, he's at 11. But here we go, everyone's stacking, ARAM begins.
I really like this by TT dropping the Herald down so they can try and get some river control of their own. I don't want to see them walk up into the turret, I want to see them start fighting for vision in the river. But in the end, they're just going to back off, and Twila is going to move over. He didn't necessarily need that flanking position anyway, right? Because he can always find any angle he needs to in the fight with his ultimate, so... Sure. Not much of a difference, but LGD still controlling river, and they have so much AoE, so much zone control. It's going to be very awkward for TT to walk in. They're going to rely a lot on the call of the Forge God from Chelizi.
Good poke from Uniboy and Flora to see this out. Look at where Flora is as well. Seismic Shock closest. In comes with the Starfall, and that catches LGD by surprise. Team flashes forward for the death sentence, lays down the box, sacrifices his life as Twila is now left by his lonesome. The Weaver's Wall turned the play as it's the final hour. Chelizi with the flash away just in case. And but TT looks so good until Flora laid down the wall.
That great point, right? We saw that TT were able to find the engage, but all of their carries getting split off from Twila, so SAMD and Xiaopeng not able to dish out the damage, especially Xiaopeng with the lead that he has been able to find. It leads to that Drake for the side of LGD, and no soul point for TT in sight.
No, it means the game goes on a little bit longer, and you already talked about Kramer and Uniboy being that late game insurance policy. That's the tick in their books. And you can see why LGD was so confident to take that fight lyric. Mythics across the board, and they used the poke well.
And we talked about Chelizi wanting to be the one to start the fight. Twila does go in as well with his ultimate. They are able to find out this initial pick onto Chance. But look at that wall. Great wall from Flora. zoning out both Teeen and Twila from the two main damage dealers on the side of TT, and it evened out to be a 1-for-1 trade in the end, but LGD got that dragon like we talked about. Chance? Chance?
What are you doing here? Chance, he has flash. He wants to get over the wall, but that sentence was closed. Just spotted out, was like, oh no, what do I do now?
That was
He's lucky
cheeky.
he gets out, but he almost died as SAMD's cheeky in the mid lane too.
And now TT going to be able to get some river pressure, river control, I'm sorry, back for themselves. Still, it's going to be about them grouping up as this 5v5 comp and pushing in. It's kind of interesting because neither comp really reliably side lanes, so it's going to be all about the 5v5 team fights. LGD, in my opinion, definitely want to be the ones who are kiting back these team fights. They want TT to come into them. You have zone control with the Taliyah abilities, with the Azir ultimate. Vayne can be kiting back with her tumble as well. And for TT, it's about going in. It should be extremely hard for TT, in my opinion, from the amount of zone control that LGD has. So a lot of it's going to be about the Call of the Forge God and Starfall combo from Chelizi and Twila. If they can find their way onto a priority target and delete someone, TT can win that fight. If not, I think LGD should be the ones coming out ahead.
All right, well, waiting for those key ultimates. The Swallow's actually going to get called out. He's knocked against the wall, puts up the shield, but a condemned time very nicely from Kramer. He'll pick up his first kill of the series, and well needed for LGD's call.
And now it should even out to an outer turret in the top lane as well. So gold after this will be pretty much even. Still, the state of the game, Hysterics, it's not changing for another 2 minutes and 35 seconds. We're still in it. It's going to be about who can get that dragon set up. Right now, TT are the ones who have full vision control of bot side. You actually can look at the wards they just put down into LGD's jungle, and it's very nice. But LGD might be looking to cheese. But with Xiaopeng having that intuition, it looks like they're just going to back off.
Also, SAMD is able to push out the mid lane as well. If that goes any further, the threat is going to be too much to bear. I think TT as well. Mew backed away and cleared the wave, and they actually do Baron pretty quickly, so I can see why the cheese is on the minds of LGD. It's always going to be there for the rest of this game.
Both teams have a surprisingly fast Baron. I would say LGD's is faster from Vayne plus Azir, but Xiaopeng with the Liandry's on top of a Kaisa means that their Baron is nothing to scoff at as well. But when you're already sitting 2 dragons up as TT, you're not thinking about, hey, we need to gamble this on a big play. We're just going to keep waiting out these dragons, keep stacking those up. One avenue that we could see LGD go for on the opposite side is trying to play with Renekton in the side lane. The problem is it's going to be quite hard to go on the likes of an Ornn unless you dedicate a third member there. If LGD wanted to make a side lane play, it feels like they would have to send Colt to the same lane as Twila and try to burst him out. Kind of like how we saw Kramer and Chance find that pick on him in the top side.
Let's be honest as well, you know, against the Ornn, unless you have Blade of Ruin King or something on Renekton, feels so hard to whittle him down. We're getting towards second item for both these top laners as well. Seems like Steric's Gauge here for Colt. It seems like Chelizi is going to be going towards the Randuin's Omen as a potential. I'll hold on that because TT are just like, you know what? Let's try it.
I told you, their Baron is extremely fast as well, as we can see from the Liandry's on the Lilia. Chelizi now coming in. They also do have a really good turn, and this forces LGD into them.
Chelizi, Searing Charge. He needs a Searing Charge on the Weaver's Wall, but brings in the Call to Forge God first. Baron's getting low. They're going to try and 50-50. He waits for it as Kramer's free hitting the backside. Look at this Vayne lyric as Baron gets spun by Xiaopeng, but I don't think TT are going to have any members left to hold on to it. Going into Lilting Lullaby, Colt's going to help them out, and it's already a triple kill for Kramer. No one touched him, and LGD are going to be like, whatever, as Twila. Will he escape? He's on the wrong side of the map without a Starfall. At least to use it before he gets stunned up. He wants the range, has flash available. One more member needs to come in, but he's not going to get stunned. And he actually escapes in the end.
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
Well, he'll flash and he'll survive anyway.
I'm guessing he didn't know where Vayne was at the start of that fight because he could have actually just ran towards the mid lane with Xiaopeng, but instead opted going towards the left side into their blue buff brush. But still, I mean, in the end, he does get out. And for the side of TT, they have Baron on 2 members. They're still up in gold, but you're staring in the face of a 4-0-1 Vayne. And I still feel like LGD's composition is a lot easier to execute when we talked about, hey, they can kind of just sit back and let TT come into them.
A lot of engage, a lot of CC chain with Renekton, with Taliyah. Target selection becomes easier with Rel as well. So for LGD, these DPS carries are going to be massive, and one already is. Soul point though for TT, and we're going to remember that Cloud Soul, probably the weakest dragon still, but it is still a soul point that leads towards an Elder that can shift the game balance. So now being on soul point, a lot of threat still comes from TT, who still have a small gold.
And if you were here 2 days ago, Sterix and Clement were on the mic. We had a TT game. It was all over the place. Dragons back and forth. And TT got that Elder Dragon, and it led them to the win. We'll get a replay here. Chance going in. They're trying to dissuade the Baron. Chelizi throwing out his ultimate from over the wall. But keep your eyes on Kramer. He's just free hitting on the opposite side of the fight. Takes down SAMD immediately. Can easily follow up onto the likes of Chelizi. And sure, Xiaopeng was able to get the damage off to secure the Baron. But as we've stated, you have a 3-item Vayne now, and that is terrifying.
And he's onto Chelizi. Chelizi's like, oh no, it's the one person I don't want to be near. Random with Nova doesn't hit either. Call the Fort God for the knockup as the Weaver's Wall kind of sets them up. However, you're in the spin range, and now for Teeen trying to run out rather Chance. As he's sending out the Dark Passage, it's Burst City for Chance as well. The Flay comes in, and LGD in a dangerous position, and Uniboy, the only carry left alive. Hulk goes back on in. I couldn't even follow that fight. That just happened so fast, and now SAMD is 3-1.
The thing is, you were focused correctly on the Vayne play. What I was focused on was the Weaver's Wall from Flora that sent him right in front of 2 members of TT, which definitely led to his doom. And, I mean, after that, right, we see how massive Xiaopeng is. I think it's actually pretty, I don't want to say lucky, but fortunate for the side of TT that Xiaopeng was the one getting so many of these early kills rather than the likes of Chelizi or Twila. Or it would feel like maybe their comp wouldn't have enough damage to stack up to the likes of LGD. But even SAMD, as we do see on our screen with, you know, being quite far ahead, 3-1-4, 3 items, having the collector, so that XP is going to be quite nice. And we'll go into the replay. Kramer going on Chelizi, but look at Flora. Ends up right in front of 2 members. Does buy a bit of time with that Zanya's. And on this side, sure, Chelizi is going to go down. But Flora gets deleted immediately to Xiaopeng. Twila buying time on the opposite side does force out the ultimate from Uniboy. And then we just see Xiaopeng continue to throw out damage. SAMD as well continuing to go in. And then very easy cleanup. Nice death sentence from Teeen to finish it off. And Uniboy not able to do anything.
Well, you've got 80 carries now that are in very fine positions. We have Soul Point coming up, and TT just won yet another fight. They're 3,000 gold up, and even though you already talked about the scaling and ease of execution rather for LGD, we have to remember that TT still have a lot of good elements that are going to be playing these fights very easily. I want to point towards Xiaopeng. I want to point towards SAMD. SAMD, who also has Typhoon, the upgrade from Chelizi. So very strong members that can really lead the charge towards this next dragon.
Yeah, and it's interesting to kind of follow up on where we're at with items, with Chelizi picking up the Randuin's Omen, which is going to be extremely nice to have against that Vayne for reducing the crit chance. It looks like Twila is finally at his core items as well with the Gore Drinker Sterix combo. And on the side of LGD, it feels like their main carries at all his items breakpoints as well, but luckily he does not get hit by the W coming out from Kaisa. But in terms of items, Uniboy's still not really able to dish out that much damage, only having the Leandri's and the Zani's Hourglass.
Yeah, he's been pretty lackluster in his fights as well. I guess the Nash's Tooth is going to change a lot, so absorbing the CS a minute 30 before this soul point comes up. We'll see if Uniboy's able to make it to that 3rd item. He's still ahead of his counterpart in Twila by 70 CS. It's actually 70 CS leading the bottom lane as well, and you know, we do have a lot of differences between our core carries. So back timings here, we'll watch it lyric. Let's see if that 3rd item comes about. And, well, Uniboy isn't back. He's staying for another wave.
Yes, he is. So, seems like he just needs a bit more pocket change to go along with that one. And for the side of TT, I expect their members like Chelizi to maybe clear up this wave, recall, and start heading towards the bot side once again. We do have to note, in terms of vision, TT are the ones with, you know, at least better vision right now on that Drake with the control ward in the bot side Tri-Brush. Even a ward in front of LGD's red buff, so no one should be able to go looking for that one. And LGD posturing towards the top side. I don't assume they're going to trade the Baron for the Soul. You mentioned it's a Cloud Soul, but I still feel like it's something worth preventing from the side of TT.
It gives mobility towards people like Twila, SAMD. You remember that Xiaopeng just has to press the button, and he's going to be moving fast as well, so it's definitely not nothing. But TT are matching them now on the top side to think, what sneaky shenanigans are happening in this river?
And for LGD, I still think they just keep backing off. I like that they're once again doing this where when they're on the objective first, right, they're pulling TT into them. It's still about that combo we talked about on the side of TT with Pantheon plus Ornn. Another option is you do have the Lilting Lullaby.
Flushed away from Flora, only just surviving. There's Twila into the mix, but the backline engage with the Magnet Storm from Chance. He'll get bursted down. No one from LGD was willing to commit as the Lilting Lullaby will fly through. Team flashes forward. Spin to win. That's been the name of the game as Colt goes too far forward. The seismic shot, beautiful. The Emperor's Divide. Mess. But TT got everything off in time.
And that was a complete mess, like you just said. I'm actually not sure if I saw it right, but it looked like Flora put down the Weaver's Wall right after Chance went in and just locked him alone into the enemy team, which he got deleted immediately. It turned into a 5v4. Ultimately, LGD get completely wiped. And this is going to lead to an inhibitor plus Baron.
No one up to stop this.
Did I see that right, Hysterics? Did I see that correctly?
I believe you did. I believe you did. There's, you know, something that something that rhymes with rash that describes that play perfectly. There goes Baron, and maybe there goes LGD in game one as they won't get the inhibitor, but the inhibitor turret exposes the base.
Maybe my 2-1 prediction was a bit generous, but hey, we get the replay. So we're going to see TT look for the engage. It does have to be flashed by the Call of the Forge God. Pantheon Ultimate comes a bit short. Weaver's Wall comes out the exact same time Chance goes in. That was unlucky. That was not coordinated well. He gets deleted. No one is able to follow up on the fight. It now leaves Colt in a really awkward position. Again, it's a 5v4, and SAMD just able to easily follow up with his killer instinct, and unfortunate. That's the only word I can describe that with, because it looked like it was right at the same time. It wasn't after Chance went in. He was starting to use that Weaver's Wall right when Chance was jumping onto the enemy team.
It was, yeah, I after the fact, it was a good seismic shove. I saw that, but the wall was just so tragic. And that's what you call uncoordinated from LGD. TT get the soul after the fact as well. They have Baron for another 2 minutes. The power play is going to be immense, and they're already setting up the top wave. Bottom is pushing in as well, with mid pressuring down for LGD. This is going to be a really hard defense when you look at the dive that TT can make with this comp as well.
Like, as TT, you can play a 2-lane setup. You can send Twila in mid. He does have the global ulti to get away or follow up on the other side if TT starts a fight. But with how far ahead TT are after that last push, I honestly feel like they can even just force 5-man under inhibitor turret. I actually think they can dive, not in the bad way that B5 don't VDG, but in a way where all of LGD will just end up dead. Luckily for LGD, they do have an Azir. They do have pretty decent wave clear, so they are going to buy some time if TT aren't going to be decisive with pulling the trigger.
They're going to make a move. 4 people top side. Look at Twila through mid. LGD defending fine for now. 1 Lilting Lullaby, 1 Call the Forge God, and SAMD will clean up the rest. The wave still pushing in, excuse me, as that's the burn down. Look at the combo damage. Flora is out. And surely this means that TT can just move into the base.
TT's still going to keep it slow and just play with their big cannon minions. They're not going to overforce. Again, they have the dive potential. They can even just open Call the Forge God, try to force members back when their wave is coming in, and it should buy their team enough time to be able to hit the turret freely. But TT are the essence of patience.
They are super patient. I mean, Xiaopeng wants a Lilting Lullaby. There's the hook in. But no follow-up, no setup, no Call the Forge God, nothing. With Baron, LGD are defending. They got 20 seconds, so 1 last minion wave. Even the inhibitor's not taking. This is the second time Flora's gone back to base. The second time he's been burnt down. And TT still trying to push in.
And this is where, you know, a team like Top Esports would just go. They would just dash forward. But hey, with this wave, they will get the turret. Now LGD can't keep sending them back. They will be able to get this inhibitor. They should be able to posture and threaten a potential fight.
Well, you know, I guess you can't criticize a team for being super safe. Even though they're 10,000 gold up, they don't want to pull the trigger. They still want to put them down. LGD have their 2 inhibitors. They've just got their base in shambles, and they're sticking around in the waves, and the observer's like, when is something gonna happen?
Well, Hysterics, you said we can't criticize a team for being too patient, but I'm gonna do it. I want to see the trigger pulled. I want to see them go in. You said 10k gold. They don't know that. They can't see the gold drafts in game. We know that, but still, they should be able to realize they are so far ahead. They have pretty much all the Ornn items built. The only one who doesn't, actually, no, they all do, right? Yeah, even the one on Twila is finished. I'm sorry that icon super tiny on my screen, but point is, they're ahead. They're ahead in terms of stats. They're ahead in terms of map pressure. Even if you, again, we've said it many times, Call of the Forge God, Starfall from Twila, one member of LGD is just instantly deleted. They should just be gone at this point in the game. Well, at least with Elder, which sadly is not here anymore. So the chance was missed, Hysterics. It was missed. It's gone. Timing is wrong.
Do you want to know what the Locket item when upgraded is called? Because, you know, we go from Locket, right, into Reliquary of the Golden Dawn, which I don't even know what that word means. Hang on. Reliquary meaning. Sorry, chat. This is important.
I think my favorite upgrade name is the Stride Breaker upgrade.
I forgot what that's called.
Dream Shatter.
Oh yeah, that's good. By the way, Reliquary means a container for holy relics. So Teeen has ascended himself for the rest of the team. All those upgrades across the board now, including the Orn's course, which is the first one for Chelizi. He's level 17. So we've got a very strong TT who it really feels like it's almost 15,000 gold with 1,000 per piece of upgrade. An LGD defending with the Sun Turret. TT is still just pushing in waves. SAMD solo bottom side, and TT are just like trying to play the do-si-do.
Look, Hysterics. They're gonna wait for Elder. I'm not sure why. If they weren't gonna use Elder the first time, I don't know what makes them think they're the second time, but they have a minute up on it. They're just gonna sit back and in the words of Clement Chew, they're just gonna be straight chilling.
I tell you what, you're right, this is going to be a 43-minute game each time, isn't it? Doesn't matter if one team has an advantage. It's going to be a very slow burn where you're expecting the game to end. 50 seconds till Elder, let's just wait for that. Now, to everyone as well, while we are quizzing, you know, because we go from Leandri's Anguish to Leandri's Lament. And that is just an awesome word as well.
It's an awesome word, but I think that one's pretty disappointing because a lot of the other items, like, their name changes so vastly. It's so weird. It's so cool. That one, it's like, change one word.
We lag a little as Baron is started. This is just no contest. LGD can't move out of their base. They're going to lose Baron. Elder's up in 15 seconds. Quick reset, but LGD will be on this first because of it. So I feel like there's a chance that LGD can try and start this and burn it down.
Hysterics, I'm a straight shooter. So I'm going to tell you, we set up what TT need to do in this game. We know what they should be looking for. They're not looking for it. So, but hey, you're right, actually. LGD, I guess, are going to go for some. Oh my god, they got it. Oh my god, they got it.
In comes Pantheon with the ceaseless hunger. Twila flashes away immediately. Call the Forge God. Did a little bit as the Lilting Lullaby hits onto Colt, but LGD, they have Kramer and half health is hitting away. Low health bars, they have Elder, and they're going to lose the game, Lyric, because SAMD's the only one left alive. That's what happens when you lose the Elder Dragon, and your Vayne gets the free hit along with the quadra kill. Go to Uniboy.
They had 8 minutes, Hysterics. They had like 8 whole minutes where they could do anything they want. They could have gold. They had Elder. They had Baron. They're waiting for a second Elder. They didn't use their first Elder, Hysterics. What is going to be different? I'm not sure. Do LGD actually have long enough death timers to end this game? I'm also not sure. But I really don't know what's happening. I do know what's happening. I just don't know why. Why, Hysterics? Why do you know?
I don't know. Support not up for a while. I honestly think they can keep going. The damage is huge. You have it as here. Uniboy's been playing pretty horribly all game, and then he just has a great team fight. And LGD outplayed, outscaled, and ladies and gentlemen, this is peak gameplay. Welcome back to the LPL. LGD 1-0 in this epitome of a series.
I do want to say your prediction's already completely wrong.